Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it's me, I'm back, it's the Vobe. Hello, welcome to the Vobe Show Live. Yes, I'm here on my lonesome todsome tonight. Unfortunately, the lovely Julia couldn't be with us, but she's back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. She is back tomorrow, which is going to be fantastic. Can't wait, because when she's on the show, chaos ensues, ladies and gentlemen. We will be talking about the lovely Julia, the TLJ as we now call her on the show. The lovely Julia is too sexist, I think. That's too sexist. You can't say that. You cannot say about women that they are lovely because that is sexist now. So from now on she is TLJ. That's right, not to get confused with the lovely PLJ, which I enjoy having a drink of. You can't drink the TLJ, but you can drink the PLJ, pure lemon juice, ladies and gentlemen. It keeps the show going, you know. It's what oils the show. So, there we go. That's very exciting. Let's see if there's anybody actually out there. It would be nice to know if they are. Yes, we've got Martin Snow, Jason Beeching. We've got Glenn Johnson, lovely to see. Linda Kane, Andy Joy, fantastic. Jeff Stevens, Jason Smith, Dan Thompson, Jane Ainsley. Hello, Jane. I hope you're well. I know you've not been very well, and I am worried about you up there in Lancashire all on your own. But we're sending you lots of love and kisses. Who else have we got out there? There is Andy Ash and many, many more. Mark Selwood, Kushti Phil, fantastic. Loads of people. Cynthia Walder. Yes, the register is being called. Are you on it? Which is what we want to know. Philip Naylor. Hello, Philip. Been a while. Haven't heard from you for a bit, but I'm glad you're there and you haven't fallen off your roof, which is superb. Don't want any of that. George Timperley. Hello, George Timperley. Hope I've got that right. Lovely to have you on board. Very nice to see you. Richard Suggett has just joined us, which is great. And Mark English, he says, what's up? What's up? What is... I don't understand. Let me just say, I don't understand that what's up. What's up? The sky is up. There's nothing wrong. You know, you say to somebody when they're down and sad, what's up? What's the matter? What's the matter, mate? If you can't say hello properly, I suggest you don't say hello at all. No, I'm only kidding. You say whatever you blooming well like. After all, this is a community and it's your show and you do what you like. And why not, indeed? Jennifer Stewart has arrived. The lovely Julia has just arrived, as we said, TLJ. You can't say... You can't say the lovely Julia, as I just mentioned. She didn't catch that because she wasn't there. But you can't say the lovely Julia anymore because that's sexist. So she is now the TLJ. So never mind. Anyway, we'll be finding out about all of that. Jeff Stevens has arrived. He says, what's happening, dude? Yes, what's happening? Well, I'm happening. It's live, ladies and gentlemen. On the 23rd of May, 2018. Here we are at the end. Well, certainly for my... little bit of the world. It's the end of a long, lovely, enjoyable day. And I've actually been out with the lovely TLJ. The lovely TLJ? The TLJ. That's calling her the TLJ. That's sort of that makes her more. That's objectifying her even worse. I don't know. Send me the keys, Julia. I'm digging that hole again. Anyway, so welcome to the show. I'd like to tell you that in the Bald Explorer group, we have 678 members. Fantastic. 23rd of May, we're trying to get to 700 members by the end of the month. So if there's anybody that you could cajole, that's the word, cajole. If there's anybody you could cajole to join up with the group, then that would be absolutely fantastic. Paul Watts has joined. Thank you very much. Pam McIntosh is here, which is great. Steve Pilfold. I always get your name wrong. Pilfold. I don't know why I have an issue with it. What's up? Isn't that short for what are you up to, old chap? Is it? Is that where it comes from? Well, that's interesting. What are you up to? Well, it's just a lazy person speaking there, isn't it? What's up? What's up? What's the matter? JCP keys flying across the room. I must have missed them, but never mind, don't worry. I'll start the JCB, and by the end of the show, I shall have my head right up to here. So there we go. Anne Osborne is here. Brendan Potts, which is absolutely marvellous. Loads of people. Elaine Brazier, Kevin Hall, all the lovely old names and some new ones as well. And if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching the rerun on Facebook, I apologise that you're not being mentioned in there. Although I'd like to say hello to Peter May. Peter May, who watches religiously on YouTube, and he makes various comments. And there's a number of people on YouTube, and I could go through it, and I'm afraid I haven't made the list. But Peter May, particularly just today, gets the special YouTube mention. I will try and do more YouTube member mentions because obviously I do care about you. I do think about you. It's just that when it's live, I'm seeing all the comments coming up. It's all very good. The lovely Julia, TLJ, says, say hello to 12-year-old Zoe for Mark Fuller. I will say that to you. By the way, Julia, if you try to contact me through the show, my phone, or anybody if I need to, if I leave the microphone down or something goes wrong, we get disconnected and you need to contact me, or I leave a picture on, or whatever the reason, my phone is in the other room, and I haven't got it. So we're hoping that nothing goes wrong. Nothing must go wrong. Anything could happen in the next half hour. What programme was that from? Anything could happen in the next half hour. See if you know that one. Steve Pilford will know that one. I know, absolutely, dead certain he'll know that. So there we go. Anyway, nice to see everyone. Hello, says Mark Fuller. I am watching this with my 12-year-old. Please, can you say hello to Zoe? I've already said it, so it's nice to see you. Hello, Zoe. 12 years. My daughter, ladies and gentlemen, my daughter Zoe was doing a show with me called The Vobes Show, but it was a podcast when she was 11/12. I know that's a strange age, but she went from 11 to being 12, and she used to do the show with me. It was an audio show, not a video show. It was an audio. It was a podcast, and every time at the start of the show, she would say,
"You're listening to Richard Vobes,"
and that is her voice when she was 11 years old. It's amazing. And then halfway through, when I would elicit correspondence,
send an email to richard@vobes.com.
There you go. So just so you know, so if you're 12 years old or older, you are very, very welcome. If you're younger than that, you probably can't follow what's going on because you need a bit of a mad brain. And as you get older, the brain gets madder, I can tell you. So if you think you're mad now, you wait till you get the grand old age of whatever it is I am. I can never quite remember. I think it's sort of 31 or 32. Plus a couple of decades or more. Anyway, never mind all that. We've got a fun-packed show, hopefully. Now, the first thing is, ladies and gentlemen, you may be wondering why I'm wearing a waistcoat. I just thought I'd have a bit of panache today, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of panache, a bit of snazzing up. A little bit of, what did Simon Brown say in one of the videos that we record? Zizz it up or something. You zizz it up. It's a strange term. Have you been zizzed up? Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever zizzed up something? Apparently, it's actually in a dictionary. I don't know what dictionary, probably an urban dictionary for is it there or is it over there? It's now, I may have got the pronunciation wrong because every time I was trying to pronounce this when I was with Simon Brown in Cambridge a few weeks ago, which, of course, the walking videos are now out and everybody's thoroughly enjoying them. Well, at least I hope they are thoroughly enjoying them. Nobody's come round banging on my door saying, do you know what? I don't like your videos. They're rubbish. And I say to them, write it all down on the back of a £50 note and I will take it very seriously indeed as I walk to the bank and stuff it in a lovely shoebox that they keep for me at the back of the bank. Very close to the windows, actually, that some insider at the bank always leaves open. And in the morning, obviously a hand has been in there and for some reason that lovely £50 note, crisp £50 note, has vanished and the bank deny all knowledge of ever having it, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, Julia says, I can't. Everyone's saying it now. Mr. Grimsdale, they're breaking all our bottles. Sorry, I went into a bit of Norman wisdom there. Yeah, you can't do that. Oh, sorry, a bit of Norman wisdom there. Everybody loves a bit of Norman wisdom, apart from all those people who cannot stand Norman wisdom. And it's funny because it's like those people who liked Laurel and Hardy. There are people who absolutely love Laurel and Hardy. Well, that's another fine mess you've got me into. And those people who absolutely cannot stick it and say, do you know, those two, they worry me. And I think, well, they would worry you. They're dead. No, but they can't get it. It's almost as if, it frustrates me. I get frustrated if I put on Laurel and Hardy and they can't do something like getting a piano boxed up in wood up a big flight of steps. That they get very, very frustrated. They don't get the humour of it. It's very strange. There's two types of people. It's like Marmite, isn't it? It's those that like it and those that don't. It's very strange. I heard that term on a commentary about the royal wedding. It was up. However, I don't know how you say it now. I've lost it. I thought it was like zizzing it up. You can zizz this up and make it a bit more posher than it really is. You can't go posher than the royal wedding, though, can you? I mean, that is top posh. In fact, I didn't actually see the royal wedding, ladies and gentlemen. It was too posh for my little eye. Because as you know, I've only got one eye, and so I can't do spectacles. When I say spectacles, I don't mean these sort of spectacles, obviously. I'm talking about grand spectacles, because I haven't got the full complement of vision, you see, so I can only go to half measures. So, all I can see is just like, a couple of oiks down at the registry office, which actually probably sums up my marriage. When I got married, it was, I mustn't say that about Dawn, of course. It was one oik. I was the oik at the registry office going, yeah, think so. No, I think you're supposed to say, I do. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm mulling it over. Ask me in 14 years. I'm not quite sure how long our marriage lasts, but it was something like that. And unfortunately, life is like that. Anyway, let's not get down onto that sort of thing. Emily has arrived, and she says, were you not invited? Do you know what, Emily? Do you know? Can you believe this? I was waiting with bated breasts, waiting to see if my invitation was coming. And I plagued the postman as he came bounding along, singing and whistling like they do. It's funny, the postman now whistles. It used to be the milkman, but since we don't have milkmen anymore, somebody else has got to do that early morning whistle. Although, of course, postmen aren't doing it in the early morning anymore. They're doing it about sort of 2 o'clock in the afternoon, looking very haggard, having done about 3 people's rounds, because they work so hard, pushing that big trolley with all these parcels from Amazon and various other places. Other places where you can buy merchandise is available, by the way, should you want to know that. Anyway, Dave Baker's here, which is great to see. Mark Taylor says, I saw Norman Wisdom in Panto at Oxford in Robinson Crusoe, and he played Robinson Crusoe's brother, Norman Crusoe. Norman Crusoe, I'm on an island. What am I doing on this island? I can't get off the island. Why can't you can't do that, Mr. Grimsdale? Mr. Grimsdale, I'm on an island. What am I doing on the island? Here, I'll get some coconuts. Hang on a minute, I'll get some... You know how he would get very, very excited and then do all these... That was a really bad impression, ladies and gentlemen, but I never studied the master, did I? I never studied the master. Anyway, there we are. Steve Pilfold says, I can bore you all about Laurel and Yanny and how... What? Laurel and Yanny? And how as I turned my speaker, I heard both... What? Both? Hang on, I've lost it now. It's gone. It's gone. Sorry. The message is... When you're doing it furiously like that, which is absolutely fantastic, when they come fast and furious, sometimes I don't see them. Elizabeth Brazier says, they missed us off the list. Yes, they did miss us. At the royal wedding, they missed us off the list. I don't know what was going on. It's very easy, you see. When you're a royal and you're sitting there in the evening and you're sitting there going, who shall we have, darling, to our wedding? Well, I don't know. Who shall... hang on, she's American, isn't she? Well, I don't know who we should have to our wedding. It's very deep-voiced, Meghan Markle there. Well, I don't know, darling, who we should have to our wedding. Well, I think we should have a few people, some of them commoners. Well, you don't get more common than that Vobes guy. Yes, that's very true. He is very common. I've seen some of his shows on the internet. It's appalling, really. But, if you're going to get rid of the riffraff, have him there at the front and they'll all stay away. Where's my big fat cigar? Puff, puff, puff. I don't know whether actually Meghan Markle puffs on a big fat American cigar from Havana. Anyway, wherever it comes from. And that's not even American, is it? Havana is Our Man in Havana. Have you ever seen that film, Our Man? Have you read the Graham Greene book, Our Man in Havana? Hilarious book. They think he's spying. Everybody thinks he's spying, but he's actually a vacuum salesman. He has a little vacuum shop, and they're looking at, and somebody approaches. It's a great book. Somebody approaches him from, like MI5, slight difference, and they say to him, look, we want you to do a bit of spying for the other side. And he's Alec Guinness, actually, in the film. And it's hilarious. And in the end, he starts photographing bits of vacuum cleaners. And they think it's some special, I don't know, can't remember what they think it is, some sort of nuclear bomb or some sort of special hydrogen bomb, probably. And then they want to find out the factory and all of this. Anyway, I don't know how he got onto Graham Greene's Our Man in Havana. Oh, cigars, American, Meghan Markle, getting the Vobe on the show. Where was our invitation? Well, as you can imagine, that was probably the scenario. And if you followed any of that, ladies and gentlemen, please write it down and send it to me, because sometimes the little brain cell doesn't quite know what the other side of the head is actually doing. So there we are. It's a little bit of barkingness. I hope some of you are laughing, because otherwise, not laughing at me, laughing with me would be nice. Anyway, Mark Silver says, I love Richard's American voice. Well, thank you, boy. That's some... Oh, wait a minute, that's slightly different. I've been sworn-hoggled. What is it, sworn-hoggled? No, not sworn-hoggled. I've been sworn... Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Sounds like a character from The Family Guy, says the lovely TLJ. Kevin Hall says Groucho Marx is in... I thank you. I can't remember any of the Groucho Marx one-line jokes, but they were in a film called Duck Soup, if I remember rightly. And I think that's currently available from Marks and Sparks. Anyway, Megan sounds like John Wayne. Get off your horse and drink your milk. I don't know if that's John Wayne, but anyway. Paul Couchman has arrived. We've been waiting. We have been waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been waiting for the wonderful Paul Couchman. I must get a hallelujah chorus on here, so I shall do it myself. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Ole, underlay, lay me some underlay. I've got the carpet I got to fix, quick. Anyway, so it's lovely to see you, Paul. You'll be pleased to know that the lovely Julia and I have got costumes. Yes, we have costumes. We are going to go down and go swimming very soon in our lovely 1930s costumes there at the Regency... No, wait a minute. Not swimming costumes. No, you fool. Not 1930s, neither. I'm going to show you some pictures very shortly. But before all of that, ladies and gentlemen, before all of that, oh man, now I'm the lovely Julia. How did that happen, says the lovely TLJ. Don't know. Anyway, time for some PLJ, which is also very lovely. Delish. Right, let's get on with the show. We've been pontificating far too long, ladies and gentlemen. How many times a day do you pontificate? More than once? Go and see the doctor. Right, so first of all, had a couple of things in the post. Very exciting. Had this lovely postcard, ladies and gentlemen. This lovely postcard. Just look how lovely it is. I have no idea who this postcard comes from. It's a delightful postcard, but maybe if I turn it round and show you the other side, maybe then you'll see. Yes. Guess who that is? It says, Dear Bald Explorer and the lovely Julia. It says, having an arrogant... well, I can't read his writing. He's obviously a doctor. It says, having an arrogant belt, serving postcard from Dumpman, dubious and dark past. I'm obviously reading that wrong, but I can't read his writing. He says, love being on the show. Look forward to the next time. See if Martin Snow can print some of the San Miguel or Saint Miguel with that 3D printer of his. Lots of love, Dump Man. And he gives everybody a big kiss like this. So I hope that was worth it. I personally now feel a little bit slobbery, and I need to go and sort of get my hanky and sort of get rid of the slobbers. But anyway, there we are. All good fun, wasn't it? Paul Couchman is there. He's saying hello to a few people, which is very nice. So, I've got to stick this on the board, and of course we do have some sticking it on the board music, which I think is this one. Not quite sure where to stick it. Yes, I know you could tell me. I know. So there we go, we got it stuck on the board, it's looking lovely. Anybody wants to send a postcard, of course, the best way to send a postcard is to email me, ladies and gentlemen, and I will give by return my address, and then you can post the postcard to me, invoice me for the stamp, obviously, and it will come up on our lovely display, and you will be internationally famous. So if you want to know the postcode address, of course, just email me.
Richard@Vobes.com.
Oh yes, of course I've done that bit. Hang on a minute. In order to do that, I haven't got the old system that I used to have, which worked really well. But anyway,
Send an email to Richard@Vobes.com.
so there we go. Marvellous. Send an email, Richard@Vobes.com, which is very good. Also, ladies and gentlemen, exciting times. Exciting times. You may not think it's exciting, but believe me, it is exciting for me. San Miguel 3D, what does he say? Printing is solids, not liquid beer. Can you not print liquid beer with your 3D printer, Martin Snow? I would send it back and demand a better one. One that can do all sorts of marvellous drinks, which would be great because you could bring them in every week on a tray. I'll sort you out with a little butler's outfit. Oh yeah, I was going to tell you why I'm wearing a waistcoat, ladies and gentlemen, because I wanted to snazz up jizz up the show. Jizz? No, I don't think you can call it jizz, can you? I wanted to zizz up the show because we're going to be talking about dressing up and that sort of thing. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have some topics to get through, and we're going to start those in a minute. But first, something else arrived. A great big parcel arrived. Dave White has been in touch. He said, I have got something far better than a postcard for you. And he sent me obviously he's been clearing out, you see. And he sent me this thing. I did open it up earlier, and he sent me a couple of books, ladies and gentlemen. Books! You know how I love books. It's very kind of him, very kind. Well, the first book here is one all about West Sussex and the villages of West Sussex. Absolutely fantastic. There, have a look at that. The West Sussex Village Book by Tony Wales, and it's got whole loads of interesting stuff about Harting and Hardham and Fulking and Fittleworth and Felpham and Ebenow. Oh, Ebenow! They're going to have their Ebenow's going to have their lovely little festival, aren't they? Fairly soon, or whatever it is. Anyway, it's got a whole load of information, which has been very good for the old research for the Vobes. Now, this is where the lovely Julia is going to fall over backwards. So, lovely Julia, pay attention to this, because you will absolutely fall over backwards for this. And I need to wait for the response, because the other book that arrived, ladies and gentlemen, that arrived was based on something that the lovely Julia and I got involved with fairly recently. You may remember it. Yes, here it is. The Natural History of Selborne by Gilbert White. Yes, look at that. This is a reprint of his famous book. And it's absolutely amazing. I've had a little shufty through some of it already. Let's have a look, make sure that she's there with bated breath even. Horn Fair, yes, there we go. And so here we go. Look, this is some stuff that he's written about the otter, which is very nice. Eek, says the lovely Julia. Eek! And the ring ouzel. So this is Gilbert White was this bloke who lived around in the 18th century, and he was the first ecologist, you see, and he studied birds and he studied wildlife all around the village of Selborne where he lived, and we've done some videos of that, you remember, last week. Fantastic. So there we are. We've got so we can do a bit more research on the amazing geezer. For example, these are all letters, you see, that he wrote. So here's letter 31. It says, "Dear Sir, Dear Sir," I'm sure he spoke just like that, old, what's his face? It says, "Dear Sir, on August the 14th, 1775, we surprised a large viper, which seemed very heavy and bloated, as it lay in the grass, basking in the sun. When we came to cut it up, it was basking in the sun. What a terrible man. When we came to cut it up, we found the abdomen was crowded with young, 15 in number, the shortest of which measured full 7 inches, and were about the size of full-grown earthworms." When he said it was opened it up, I wondered what it was inside, but he meant young vipers, presumably, size of earthworms. The little fry issued into the world, this little fry issued into the world with true viper spirit about them, shewing them great alertness as soon as disengaged from the belly of... I'm not reading it very well. It was written a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen. It was written some time ago, and you can't expect a man of my limited talents to get it. Anyway, there it is. So that's all very good. Glenn Johnson says, went past today, but no time to stop. Well, went past Selborne. Very nice. We've got some more videos. The lovely Julia and I have got to go back up to the hangar and walk the zigzag path. And also, I want to do the story about how the villagers, during the swing riots in 1830, got very annoyed. And they attacked the workhouse, the poorhouse, basically, and tried to set fire to it, and they beat up the vicar a bit, and he got his dog out. Anyway, it's all very exciting. Anyway, so that's all good news. That's that. So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Dave. It's very kind. Dave watches on YouTube, so he won't know that it's happened, but just to let you know that we've got it. So that's really good. I think we should put that somewhere. Pride of place. I'm going to put it. Can you see it there? I don't think you can see it there. What can you see? Oh yes, you can see it here. Here, hang on. We'll just shove it. Pride of place, ladies and gentlemen. That's good. It's not fallen over. So that's marvellous, isn't it? There we go. Lovely. Jennifer Stewart, it says, I'm grossed out. I'm so sorry. What? Because we've chopped up live in front of a 12-year-old on the show a viper, ladies and gentlemen. A viper. Not a Vober. A viper, so we'll be all right. Anyway, so that's that. Right, topics. Let's get on. Oh, well, we got topics. So here we are. Here's our first topic. Based on things that have happened today, topic number 1. What is the most outrageous costume that you've had to wear? I put on a waistcoat. Hardly outrageous, isn't it? Hardly outrageous at all. But what is the most outrageous costume that you guys have ever worn? I'd be fascinated to know, have you gone to a party? What have you dressed up? What's the most peculiar thing that you've ever had to wear? I remember I was asked if I could use a pogo stick many, many years ago when I used to do extra work on the television. And my agent rang up and said, "Hey, Richard," said, "Yes." Can you operate a pogo stick? And of course, you never said no to anything. It doesn't matter what they said. Can you fly a jet engine across the sky? It was for television. You never said no. You said, "Oh yes, I can do a pogo stick. No problem at all," I said. So she said, "Marvellous, you're booked." Anyway, it was for the Russ Abbott Madhouse, I think it was. Russ Abbott. Remember Russ Abbott? He who had sort of implanted hair. Very funny bloke, very nice bloke. And I was... So anyway, I didn't know any more about it. She said, "Oh, you just need to be able to... They'll provide the pogo stick, or just got to be able to do it." Now, you see, I could stilt walk, I could ride a unicycle, I could balance on a big red ball, I could slack rope a little bit. So I thought, it can't be that difficult. Kids get on a pogo stick, be easy, won't it? So I didn't have a pogo stick, so I just thought, well, it'll be fine. Anyway, the day of the studio recording, in front of a live audience, ladies and gentlemen, I can't remember where it was, Thames Television or somewhere like that, or may have been at the BBC. Anyway, I turn up and they have a rehearsal. So I meet Russ Abbott, very nice bloke, quite tall, if I remember rightly, and this planted hair, which looked really weird close up. But anyway, that's another story. And so they said, "Are you the guy who can operate the pogo stick?" And I said, yes. And they said, I said, "If there's any chance I could just have a practice." I said, because every pogo stick's slightly different, and I need to get the practice in. They said, "That's fine, you can take it into the car park and pogo away as much as you like." So I did. I took it into the car park and I was pogoing up and down like this, boing, boing, boing. And it was a bit tricky to get going, but I got it in the end. And then we had lunch and all this sort of stuff, and the bunch of other extras were involved in the show in sketches, because it was a sketch show, comedy sketch show, Russ Abbott's Madhouse. And anyway, so then towards the evening, they said, "Oh yes, you've got a very simple scene, but we're not going to rehearse it. We're just going to do it." And I said, "Oh, why aren't we going to?" He said, "Oh, on cue, you'll be cued, and all you got to do is pogo across the set." And I said, "Oh, well, that's okay." They said, "You just got to go across the set. As simple as that. That's all you got to do." But we're a bit running late, so we know what the scene is. And, it's a joke. You will pogo across the set. Bang, no problem at all. Okay, fine, no problem. So then, they tell you, come back in an hour. We're going to go for lunch or late tea it was. And then at 6 o'clock, they invite the studio audience. So I don't think it was live, but it was recorded as live, if you see what I mean. Steve, just to break off before I lose all this, Steve Pilford says that I had to dress as a spider in the 1988 Christmas play. I had a leotard and 4-pipe leggings. Well, that sounds very interesting. It's almost as bad as what I'm going to tell you. That had tights over them connected to my arms by strings. So there we go. I won the most original costume too, says Richard Suggett. Yes, I know your costume, Richard. It was the naked gardener. We've seen all that. Anyway. So there am I on the Russ Abbott show. We're all gone off for a light something to eat before the 6 o'clock recording. We come back from the BBC. It must have been at the BBC. Come back from the BBC canteen, and because I've no idea what they, I wondered what they were going to dress me in, because I thought, a nice, perhaps a little waistcoat and bow tie or something that would be quite nice. Something nice. Get on my pogo and just wait for the queue and go across. And I went into this. Into the makeup department, the costume department, makeup, and there was this enormous courgette costume. Well, I thought it was a courgette, or a marrow. Anyway, it was this great big thing with hairs on it. It looked like a marrow or a courgette or something like human-sized, tiny little slit like this. And the idea was they were going to slot this over me. It was made of foam and latex and things, all this hair coming out. I had this tiny, and within that I had to be on the pogo stick. And I'd said, wait, hang on a minute, there's no space. And they said, oh, can't you do it? Because you too late. The audience was in there and they were recording the stuff, and I was coming up ready for the queue. It was a nightmare. So I'm in this claustrophobic costume, this sort of rubberized thing, and waiting for this queue. Could barely see out of it. And because on the actual queue, I had to bang, 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 pogo across the stage. And I hadn't even done it. I hadn't even practiced it. I'd just been in the car park. And so this bloke, the sketch was there was a number of very quick fire sketches. And this sketch the joke was so appalling. It wasn't even funny. It was simply Russ Abbott was with somebody else. And one of them, I can't remember which way round it was, just said, hey, what's green and hairy and rides a pogo stick? And Russ Abbott, whoever, said, I don't know, what's green and hairy and rides on a pogo stick? He says, well, I don't know, but there's one coming now. Cue. Boing, 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 boing. It was, anyway, I managed to stagger in some random drunk fashion across the stage, and he kept it in. Apparently it did go out. So that was the most extreme costume that I've ever worn. So keep your costume stories coming. Richard Suggett says, my birthday suit seems to have made an impression. Yes, it was the Naked Gardener. Was an incredible. Was that one of those specially made rubber suits that you had to wear to get that picture, just to look so sublime, Richard? It was a fantastic one, I have to say. Alan Piddington says, I was Butlins in Bognor at the 70s weekend. Were you in a red coat? Were you one of the Butlins red coats? Emily Champion says, that's one to put on your CV. Well, I don't know about that. Anyway, costumes. Talking of costumes, ladies and gentlemen, as you may know, on Saturday, the Vobes show, the Bald Explorer Live, it'll still be the Bald... As you know, we've changed the name and the format of this show slightly, and we will be actually broadcasting on the Vobes show Facebook page from next week, but at the moment it's still on the Bald Explorer Live. There's all funny reasons for all of that. I'm not going to go into it now, but every now and again the Bald Explorer, who does heritage and walks and things, will still do live shows, but they won't be this madcap format that the lovely Julia and I, the TLJ and I, have worked up, sort of do for humour, because everybody's been saying, oh, we like the humour, mate, we love the humour, we love the silliness, the sillier the better. So I do want to do more silliness and that sort of stuff, but every now and again we'll do a bit more of a straight-laced interview-based thing, a live thing from events, from some interesting places, and that's where the Bald Explorer lives, so there's a slight separation. So on Saturday, this Saturday at 3 o'clock, tune in if you can't make it down to the Regency Townhouse in Brunswick Square in Hove this Saturday, because it's the Regency Townhouse Open Day, and it's open to the public. You can go in. I believe it's free, but you're very welcome to give a donation. I believe that's the case. Paul will actually tell me if I've got that bit wrong. So open their doors. They're restoring this amazing terraced house in Brunswick Square. It's one of the posh ones, ladies and gentlemen. And also, I don't know if they're opening the number 10 basement as well. Are you opening the number 10 basement as well? Maybe they're opening both bits. But anyway, it's fascinating. I made a video about it. Check it out on the Facebook pages. In the video section under Bald Explorer, or on YouTube. It's all very good. Free donations welcome. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And the lovely Paul Couchman is going to be cooking. He's going to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting the genuine ingredients from the Regency period, and will be cooking up genuine Regency recipes that they would have been served up. And I think as a guest, as you go round and enjoy all that, you can get to sample some of it, cakes and various things. So that's going to be good. And the lovely Julia and I are going to be there, and we're going to be filming some bits and pieces earlier in the day, and then we're going to do a live show. Assuming we can get the internet, and I've got the modem, we're going to do some tests on Friday, and then we're going to be doing the live show at 3 o'clock till 4. It closes at 4, and so hopefully we can get some interviews with the people who run it, the volunteers who have been restoring it, and maybe one or two guests to get their impression of it. We're hopefully going to get some shots of Paul cooking in his outfit, in his kitchen, doing authentic historic cooking, which is going to be fantastic. We'll get him on the live show talking about what he does, and we'll get other people talking about the whole project. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be mad, but we're going to try and do the best we can and bring that to you. But best of all, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in costume. Yes, we're going to be in Regency costume. Now, you may have already seen some of the pictures, but I want to show you that anyway, which is going to be fantastic. So here we go. Let's have a look now. Somewhere I've got here some costumes. So first of all, let's have a look. Costumes. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen it already, we went to a place called Glad Rags. Absolutely fantastic place. Here is their card. Bit of publicity for them. 6,000 costumes for hire. And if you are a charity, or you are an amateur Amdram production, or you do fringe stuff, they have tiers of how to pay, and very cheap, very reasonable prices. If you're a sort of big production company or something, then obviously you can afford to pay pucker prices. But they are a charity and stroke a business as well. And they're in Brighton, sort of very close to the University of Sussex. Up near Stanmer Park in Watergate Business Centre. So anyway, this is them, Glad Rags. Very lovely people. Absolutely. They couldn't do more for us to help us out. And as you saw here we go. That's the lovely Julia on the right in the red, and I'm the one in the bonnet. But actually, because the costumes didn't fit us that way, we did it the other way round. And so the lovely Julia is going to play a lady, and I'm going to play some sort of, I don't quite know what costume, that's some sort of, gentleman. Anyway, the point is, we look delicious, and we're going to be strolling around the country house, the townhouse rather, as if it's our own. And we may well, if there is some servants there, we may give them little bit of jip. If they tell them. So if, Paul, we may get Paul running around with trays of wonderful food that we can try, and we'll be doing it on the show. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be quite fun. It'll be quite amusing. And it'll be actually, what's quite worrying is this will be the very first Bald Explorer live outside broadcast that we've done. So I am a bit nervous. There is a bit of trepidation about this. I do want it all to go well and right, and I may be a bit stressed, and hopefully Julia is going to be there to calm me down as I try to make everything work and still, manage to interview and all that. But it'll be a hoot. We'll do something. It'll be great. And even if the internet falls apart and we can't get broadcast, I'll still take a camera and we will still record stuff, and if we have to cobble and edit together, so it's after the event. If that happens, at least we'll have that. So it's going to be fantastic. Whatever happens, it's going to be great. So do join us for that. More costume pictures here to have a look at as we were getting ourselves. We were looking at different periods of costume. There's me making a complete and utter fool of myself, of course. We got the wrong period to begin with, because the lovely lady said, oh, here, along this rail, go and help yourself and see what you can find. Well, of course, I didn't know what I was looking for. Here's the lovely Julia, looking very lovely, in a sort of a much more subdued number. And then she found this one, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. She looks radiant. I have to say, she does look radiant in there. Absolutely gorgeous. And here she is again in the other one. Very demure, if I can say that. She's absolutely so. And together we make a splendid couple for the Regency Townhouse production. So I hope you'll join this pair of slightly nervous, slightly worried, slightly anxious presenters and the rest of the team. But it's going to be great. We're gonna love it. We're gonna love it. So and if you can make the event, of course, if you're in Brighton on Saturday the 26th, that's this Saturday between 10 and 4. Do come along to the Brunswick Townhouse. It's absolutely going to be fantastic. So I hope I've sold that, Paul. I hope I've sold that sufficiently. Suits you, sir, says Malcolm. Thank you very much. We have Wi-Fi. He says, should work okay. I didn't know you had Wi-Fi, but I've got my own little 4G Wi-Fi as well. But we'll try yours. Between the two of us, it'll work out, which will be good. Ooh, Julia, you're a couple, 100 years late. You look so charming in those costumes. Yes, well, you see, if I had met Julia back in the Regency period, I could have beat her husband to it. But as it is, she's got a lovely husband and a lovely child. But so we are a couple only, ladies and gentlemen, only on the show on the Regency Townhouse. It'll be lovely, and we made sure that the costumes were I can't remember what she said now, in tune with one another. Anyway, I think it's going to be great, and of course it's going to be interesting, and it'd be interesting to see what everybody else is dressed up in. There may be it may turn out that of course we are just interlopers. We may just be interlopers turning up. And, of course, there's probably somebody else, probably the owner of the actual house would be there lording it up and telling us to take our stupid little our internet show and scarper. Anyway, that's all very good, all very exciting, very thrilled, and that all sounds quite good. We're already 20 minutes to the hour, which is incredible. So there we go. Do check them out. That's Glad Rags. They're absolutely brilliant. Very nice people. If you need to dress up, you want to turn up, you've got a party or anything like that, that's definitely worth a plug. And if you want to check them out on Facebook, do this. If you've got a few seconds now as we do the show, go to facebook.com. It's / Glad Rags Costumes. Glad Rags Costumes. See if you can just do that now as we're talking. You're watching on Facebook. Do that now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can go to that. It'd be nice if you can. Do this as a test, okay? So it's Glad Rags Costumes. Put that in the search, and when it comes up, like their page and leave a message and say we saw you on the Vobes show and we're looking forward to the Regency Townhouse or something like that. And say it was great to see the costumes you did. Give them a plug or something like, because they were so kind and they were so nice to us. So it'd be nice to give them a little bit of free publicity, whatever publicity that we can give. So do that now, and let me know when you've done it. Let me know if you've done it. If you've been a good sport, that would be great. So the curator will be there, but he's charming. Oh, well, that's all right then. The boss, he's charming. Well, that's marvellous. That's marvellous. Eugene has arrived. Hello, Eugene. Lovely to see you there, which is absolutely fantastic. If you didn't get the address, Paul Couchman has put it there. It's 11 to 4. Oh, is that the time? 11 till 4. I beg your pardon. I said 10. 11 till 4. 13 Brunswick Square. So there we go. Mark Fuller has come with a load of emojis, which is great. So let's move on to other things. I tell you what, let's do the group. Let's get on with. We're doing pictures and photos, just so you can have a look at the Smug 2 again. There they are. Look, how smug do they look? We had a lovely day, ladies and gentlemen. It's great fun dressing up. I have to say, it was just so fun dressing up. So watch this space, because I said to Julia at the end of this, we've got to do more of this. We've got to do more things where we just get into costume and do silly things, because I loved it. Because there we are. Look, who doesn't like being somebody else, a fantasy couple at a Regency event? Who doesn't want to do that, ladies and gentlemen? I really can't think who wouldn't do that. Anyway, so let's crack on then, and it's time for a look at the Bald Explorer group page. What have you been posting, I wonder? So looking at our first picture here, I don't know if anybody recognises that. That's in Portsmouth. That's the Spinnaker Tower, of course. Terry Wood posted that. And he says that he caught the ferry. That picture is from the ferry. And he's going across, not the Mersey, but across the Solent to the Isle of Wight, the Iddle of Whiddle, which is rather lovely. So there we go. Sussex Woodman has been posting. And Sussex Woodman has posted a picture of a willow. This is a close-up because it was a bigger picture, but to get it on my screen, it has to sort of be blown up a bit. And it's a pollarded willow with a branch that had been lopped off. That's that round bit there is a branch that had been lopped off, and the rest of the willow had grown around it. The Sussex Woodman, I do want to go and see him at some point. He lives in the woods, and he does all sorts of exciting things with trees, which is brilliant. Meanwhile, Simon Brown, we've been following the tracks of Simon Brown, not only in the videos that where he's taken me to Bedfordshire, to the RSPB, but he and his lovely wife have gone out now to Herefordshire, and they're at Herefordshire Beacon at somewhere called British Camp, up on the hills there, these beautiful Malvern Hills, or near the Malvern Hills anyway. It's and look at that, beautiful. I don't know if that's a Roman road going across, but it's a lovely little old path. Terrific. So thank you for putting that up. Meanwhile, Robert Crosser has gone to Carlisle, and he's at the castle at Carlisle, and that's pouring out. No, that's not somebody throwing a bedpan out the window with the contents of it. That is actually a whole load of poppies. It's one of those displays where the poppies sort of gush out of a window or out of the tower in this particular case. Absolutely amazing to see that. Fantastic. Meanwhile, Linda Kane has gone to the South Pond in Midhurst, which is very nice. It's a lovely... I think the South Pond in Midhurst is... the South Pond, I think that is the oldest surviving thing in Midhurst, because there was the not the castle, but it was the manor house, and the manor house had a fish pond, and the manor house that was there is now gone, except they've got markers up on St Anne's Hill, if I remember rightly, and the South Pond is the old is the fish pond that supplied the house with fish. So I think that's the oldest thing that's there. And then of course later on the family that was there moved, and they built another house in the Middle Ages, which became Cowdray Park, and I think in the 18th century that burnt down, and you go there and you see the ruin that is there. It's all very exciting. Anyway, so that's over in Midhurst. Must go to Midhurst and do some more videos. Meanwhile, Jenny Lee has gone to Charleston in East Sussex. Don't know Charleston at all, but that looks very interesting. I need to do more in East Sussex. I've done quite a bit in West Sussex. I need to go and explore a lot more in East Sussex, and it's very remiss of me. I do know that, and I have got that in my mind. But going over to West Sussex now, beautiful village called Amberley, and Glenn Johnson has been there photographing some of the incredible houses. Now, I used to know a lovely girl called Jane Corner. I don't know if she ever will cross my path again. Beautiful girl called Jane Corner. When I was 20, and we did some mime together, And it was a lovely time. She was absolutely. She's probably married now with kids and all the usual things. And that was a long time ago. And stupidly, I fell in love with this girl. Absolutely, I fell in love with her, and she liked me. Well, she didn't love me. Story of my life, ladies and gentlemen. Story of my life. She didn't want to know. Anyway, she presumably she has prospered and done some amazing things. But she had a house in. There was one of the pictures in Amberley that actually I've got a feeling might have been her house. I didn't want to show it because I didn't want that connection to come out. That's why I've shown this one here, which lovely thatched cottage. But do go to Amberley. It's a fantastic place, well worth going to. So there we go. Richard, 1940s in June, dressing up time. Yes, of course. I forget what the date is that you've got. Is it not the 6th? Is it? It's early June. Yes, I must come along wherever it is. Send me more information about it, and maybe I can dress up and come round and do a piece about it. It would be great to do that. It would be lovely. And don't forget, 6th of 4th of, I can't remember. There's another time you could dress up, and that's at Shoreham Fort. And I must give them a bit of a plug, actually, coming up very soon. I don't think I can make it because I've got to go up and see Harriet and sort out a few bits and pieces, because, as you know, Harriet and I have now split up. If you're wondering where the lovely little Lola is and the lovely Harriet, well, unfortunately, we've gone our separate ways. It turns out that the Vobe is not an easy person to live with, I think, or have a relationship with. But it's not surprising, because he does these mad shows and he does videos and things. But relationships do come to an end, and unfortunately, I've got to do that. So I can't be at the Shoreham Fort thing, which I think I can't remember exactly when it is, but it's early June. It's the first weekend in June, so that would be good. So there we go. Oh, Steve Pilford says, just me and you so far, Jane. I don't know who he's talking to there, but anyway. It's opposite, she says, it's opposite Charleston Farmhouse on Saturday near Middle Farm. Oh, yes, I do know where you mean. Yes. Thank you for that. That's very good. Wendy Wakelin, we're coming soon. I wonder if there's some costumes that we can dress up to, some old overalls that we could wear, the lovely Julia and I, when we ride on your traction engine. Maybe you've got some old, sort of, what would they be? Victorian costumes or boiler suits or something, the sort of things that they would wear. We could put a bit of soot on our faces and dress up. I think I'm getting into the dressing up bug now, ladies and gentlemen. I think that could be quite fun. How are we doing? Blimey, we haven't got through any of the topics that I've got planned. What other things have I got to go? Let me tell you about some of the places that the lovely Julia and I went to today, just so you know, because not only did we go to Glad Rags, so I hope you did that, by the way. You did go and give them a bit of a plug, which would be marvellous. We went to, round the corner from there is Stanmer Park in Brighton. Here is what it looks like. It's a beautiful, beautiful Georgian house built in 1722 I forget the name of the family now that had it. I had it on a bit of paper and I've left it in the other room with my phone. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. You can look it up on Wikipedia, can't you, if you're that interested? Anyway, it was built there on a former other house. But curiously, one of the mistresses, this is quite interesting, and we didn't put it in the video, but one of the mistresses, because we filmed a video there, by the way, one of the mistresses of George IV in the Regency period lived in the house. So there's a little connection there, I don't know what her name was. I'll have to find that out. But anyway, that was the house. That's at Stanmer. That's Stanmer House. But Stanmer, we did a little walk around there. Very interesting place. The place is surrounded by these sarsen stones. Now, I think the sarsen stones were actually up on the downs and moved around. They're all around, a bit around the house and round the church and round the pond there, which we went. They're interesting, these very old stones, the sarsen stones. Quite very, if I remember rightly, it's a very, very hard sandstone, hard wearing. And this is the church that I think was built in around 1822, something like that, with its very narrow spire, with ashlar, what do you call them, tiles on the top. There's a close-up version of that, looking very resplendent, and all the lovely foliage in the foreground is another view of that. We went round. We did a walk, another video, which will be coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Interesting graveyard. With some interesting graves. Didn't have a huge amount of time because we had to get back. But then the star feature, ladies and gentlemen, the star feature is this amazing yew tree that stands in the churchyard at Stanmer Park. And the yew tree, of course, was the thing that Julia was very excited in. And you can climb inside and you can see there's like this separate little... There's that separate little trunk that's growing up there, which is quite remarkable. And if you poke the camera, you can look right the way through to the graveyard there, which is all very exciting. And then the other side, there is this little outbuilding, which is an interesting building because it's called the Donkey Wheel. And it has inside there, it's the Stanmer Well and Donkey Wheel. And inside is a wheel. It's like... I think it's like a like you put with a hamster, like a hamster wheel. Inside there's a giant wheel, and a donkey would go in there and walk, and it would raise and lower your buckets full of water. And it's all very interesting, except that we had a poke of a look in there, and you'll see on the video when it's edited, the lovely Julia, the TLJ, was spooked. She looked through the window in the door. If you have a look there on that door, there's a tiny little window. And we couldn't get in because it was locked. And we tried to have a look in, and some mysterious unknown force, because as you know, the lovely Julia has a sort of empathy with, well, I don't know, it's hard to explain because I couldn't sense anything, but she sensed something. She's, I don't know whether she's a medium or a large, actually. Actually, she's a small. I know that because we bought some trousers. Well, she bought some trousers. I tried them on. She said, if they fit you, they fit me. No, not really. Anyway, she was spooked by something in this thing, as if it was saying, go back, keep away. And she did. She jutted back. But in the video, we film a little bit of that, and you'll be able to see it. Anyway, that'll be out in a couple of weeks' time, which is all very exciting. I'm very excited. I hope you're going to be excited. It's all good, isn't it, eh? It's all good here, isn't it? Lovely, lovely. So that was that. And actually, while we were there, the lovely Julia, she did her very first solo Vobing reporting. So I want you to give her a big thumbs up and a big, like, because she's posted it in the group, ladies and gentlemen. Here she is. I took a screenshot. She did it on her phone, a bit impromptu, in the churchyard. Now, curiously enough, she doesn't go up to the yew because we've got that on the other film, but she did something different. Not going to tell you what it goes, but it's very enjoyable to watch. It's only a couple of minutes long, so give her as much support as you can. The lovely Julia there, and it's in the Bald Explorers Facebook group, not the Facebook page, the Facebook group. So that's all good. So marvellous. And just in case you missed it, here they are again, looking absolutely resplendent. So that's all good. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up. I had maybe I'll save some of these topics. The longest queue. We had to wait at Marks and in Tesco's on the way back. We went to get some lunch, and we had to wait in this queue while two old biddies. No disrespect to old biddies, but two old biddies were. On the both tills and this line of queue of people buying sandwiches and stuff, they wanted to check out the lottery, and then they kept buying these lottery things, and as they were paying for it, they were rubbing out the numbers on the lottery and going, "Oh, I've won something, dear." And so then they would go and buy another one, and they were there for about 5 or 10 minutes, and we were all seething, going, "Come on, hurry up." And they're going, "Oh, I've just won another 10. I'll have another 10 on the lucky dip, please." And they would, both of them hogged the queue to get up there. So I was interested what your longest queue was, but we'll do these tomorrow. Don't worry about bunging them in. We'll bring them over tomorrow. Oh yeah, the most inspirational book you've ever read. Be interested to know what that is with you. The worst place to get caught short. Julia and I often are out there filming, and sometimes, we've been filming, and we may have taken some water with us, and we're having a little drink or whatever, and of course there's nowhere to go to the loo, and sometimes it's a bit difficult, to do that. And I'd be interested to know, where is the most, you can be embarrassed on this show, what is the most embarrassing place, or the worst place that you've ever been caught short? We'll lift these goes. And also, what is the worst gift that you've ever been given, or the biggest letdown? And I'm trying to think what that was, related to something that happened today, a gift that wasn't what you thought it was going to be, and it certainly wasn't any of these things. But can't remember what that is. Anyway, what was the worst gift that you've ever had? And finally, because of the donkey wheel that I was telling you about and Julia's experience, have you ever been spooked? When? And what by? Be interested in those stories. So we'll talk about those tomorrow. The lovely Julia is going to be in tomorrow, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. Only other thing I need to tell you is that there will not be a show on Friday. There's not going to be a show on Friday because we're going to be at the Regency Townhouse on Saturday in the afternoon. And Friday, I will be stripping down the studio, packing it away, getting the costumes all ironed so that we look lovely and resplendent. So I don't want the panic on the morning of the Saturday. So there won't be a show on Friday, but there'll be a show tomorrow, and the lovely Julia, the TLJ, will be here, and we'll have those topics. We may have some other topics. We may have some other bits and pieces. We may go and find something to try and drink and eat, and who knows? Never know what happens when the lovely Julia is in. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, it's been lovely to see that. Kevin Hall says that he thought that the TLJ's video was great, which is very good. Colin Charles Cox has arrived. If you can arrive at 8 o'clock, that would be better, British summertime, because we're just about to finish. But lovely to see you, Colin. It's very nice. Thank you very much for coming in. Everyone's saying goodbye, so that's all good. So there we are. Another show done and dusted. Thank you for joining me. Goodness knows what we'll be dressed up in tomorrow's show. Who knows? We may surprise you. We may not. Anyway, when you hear this music, you know I've got to go away, put myself back down. I'm going to sit down now and have a nice read of the natural history of Selborne. Isn't that lovely? What a lovely thing to send. Don't forget, if you want to send a postcard, you can send a postcard. Send me an email, richard@vobes.com, and I'll send you my postal address, and then send a postcard, and it can come up on the Magic Post board. So anyway, until tomorrow, take care one and all. 8 o'clock, British summertime, last show of the week until Saturday, and it'll be 3 o'clock from the Regency Townhouse live on this channel. Till then, thank you very much. Take care one and all. It's been lovely. Bye for now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.